I should think the title of this one is pretty self-explanatory, but in case it isn't, today we're taking a look at some of the best current English footballers who are yet to win a senior cap for the England national team. I hope that's straightforward enough for you all, so I won't bore you with one of my tedious rambling introductions or even tell you about my book today. Here is my idea of England's best current uncapped 11. Goalkeeper, Angus Gunn. Alex McCarthy's recent debut leaves us without an outstanding candidate between the sticks, but in his absence, we're going for his club teammate Angus Gunn. Gunn joined Southampton from Man City for £13.5 million last summer, following an impressive season on loan at Norwich City, and he made 17 appearances in his debut campaign at St Mary's. A tall and well-rounded shot-stopper, Gunn has represented England at under 16, 17, 19, 20 and 21 level, and one suspects the 23-year-old will win his first cap as soon as he starts getting regular game time at club level. Right back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It sounds a little bit unusual to be saying this so early on and in regards to a right back, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka is the star of this side as far as I'm concerned. I called him the 7th best right back in the world last season, for which I was absolutely slated in the comments, but I suspect that wouldn't be quite such a controversial opinion now. Following an outstanding season at Crystal Palace, Wan-Bissaka joined Manchester United for £50 million in the summer, and he put in a flawless display on his competitive debut against Chelsea. Sadly for Wan-Bissaka, right back is the most competitive position in the entire England squad, with the likes of Kyle Walker, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Kieran Trippier for competition. Whether he can edge out Walker and Alexander-Arnold is up for debate, but I've no doubt he'll win a cap in the not too distant future. Centre-back, Jamal Lascelles. There are some very good uncapped English centre-backs, but perhaps none finer than Jamal Lascelles. Despite the fact he's still only 25, Lascelles has spent the last 3 years as a defensive linchpin at St James's Park, as well as serving as club captain. His form in the North East has been excellent at times, but is yet to be rewarded by a senior cap. Athletic, firm in the tackle, and strong in the air, Lascelles has the fundamentals nailed, and it's a little unusual that he's never been called up to the senior team. Centre-back, Ben Mee. Harry Maguire, John Stones and Joe Gomez understandably look to be Gareth Southgate's preferred trio of centre-backs right now, but he has also handed debuts to the likes of Lewis Dunk, James Tarkowski and Michael Keane. With that in mind, Ben Mee may consider himself a little unfortunate to still be a virgin of the international game, and as a left footer, he is an ideal candidate to partner Jamal Lascelles at centre-back in this 11. Mee represented England at multiple youth levels as a youngster at Man City, but despite almost 300 very consistent performances for Burnley, a senior cap is yet to arrive for the 29-year-old. Left back, Ryan Sessegnon. I contemplated starting Charlie Daniels at left back, since he's more accomplished defensively than Ryan Sessegnon, but ultimately, the recent Tottenham signing is the better footballer. Sessegnon's future lies as a winger as far as I'm concerned, but that doesn't change the fact that many of his 120 appearances to date have been at left back. Quick and adventurous, with an eye for goal, Sessegnon was sensational for Fulham in the Championship, and Spurs will hope they've got a future star on their hands for just £25 million this summer. Holding midfield, Will Hughes. Will Hughes always seemed like a bit of a bargain for Watford to me, joining the Hornets for just £8 million, and many less talented players have gone for a lot more in recent times. Hughes most likely would have commanded a much larger fee were it not for a serious ACL injury at Derby, and he has had a couple more injuries since signing for the Hornets. Nevertheless, he's a really gifted midfielder with excellent ball retention. He spent 5 years in the England under-21 squad, but now aged 24, he's yet to win a senior cap for the Three Lions. Central midfield, Mason Mount. It's a mark of the high regard Frank Lampard holds Mason Mount in that the Chelsea boss handed the youngster his competitive debut in Lampard's first competitive game in charge of the Blues. Long considered to be a top prospect, Mount spent last season on loan at Derby under Lampard, where he had double figures from midfield. Possessing smart movement and technique, the 20-year-old is capable of replicating that feat in the Premier League if he is developed in the right way. A regular for England at multiple youth levels, Mount can play in central or attacking midfield, but it's in the former that he starts for us here. Central midfield, Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish didn't have a dream return to life in the Premier League last weekend, getting caught out in possession before one of Tottenham's goals and making it a record 19 consecutive Premier League defeats in games he has played. With that being said, the Englishman is a talent. Always a gifted individual, he found far greater consistency after being handed the captain's armband by Dean Smith last season. If he impresses this season, it wouldn't be any great surprise to see Gareth Southgate hand the 23-year-old an England debut. Attacking midfield, Phil Foden. We're playing with a very narrow 4-3-3 with this 11, or 4-5-1, or 4-1-2-2-1, depending on how you like to define your formations. The first of our two attacking midfielders is Phil Foden, who is the most naturally gifted player in this 11. Given the speed with which Gareth Southgate's added youngsters like Callum Hudson-Odoi their England debuts, it's a touch surprising that Phil Foden is yet to make one of the waistcoat-wearing bosses' squads. Pep Guardiola described Foden as the most talented player he has ever seen, which is clearly nonsense, but he is very good. Really positive on the ball, always looking to turn, run at defenders, and break lines, he already has excellent technique and a real eye for a pass. There is unbelievable competition for places in his position at the Etihad, but the 19-year-old has already made 38 first-team appearances, and an England cap surely can't be far off. Attacking midfield, James Maddison. I must admit, I tricked myself into thinking James Maddison had already been capped by Gareth Southgate, but upon further investigation, it would appear that I do indeed know absolutely nothing about football. The 22-year-old, who had an excellent debut campaign in the Premier League last season, was called up by Southgate for England's UEFA Nations League ties with Spain and Croatia, but never got on the pitch. Positive, inventive, and never afraid to strike the ball on goal, Madison scored 7 goals last season off the back of hitting 15 in the Championship with Norwich. He's a player though, and if he's never capped by England, I'll shut down this channel and get a proper job. Centre forward, Glen Murray. The likes of Foden, Sessegnon and Mount mean the average age of this team is under 23. Or was under 23 I should say, since we had a huge dollop of experience up front in the form of Glen Murray, who brings the average age of the 11 up by more than a year on his own. That's no bad thing though, since every team needs a couple of older heads, and Murray is aging like a fine wine. The former non-league marksman bagged 15 goals last season, having struck 14 times the season before that, making him the highest scoring uncapped Englishman in the Premier League in each of the last 2 seasons. Murray has never represented England at any international level, and to be brutally honest, he never will. The team includes substitutes and a manager. As backup to Angus Gunn, I had the choice of the likes of Joe Lewis, Alex Smithies and David Button, but I'm going for Manchester United's third choice, Lee Grant. As centre-back, the likes of Steve Cook, Jack O'Connell and Tyrone Mings can consider themselves unfortunate, but my choice is Wolves regular Conor Coady. Joining him on the bench is Championship Team of the Season inclusion Max Aarons, who has the chance to really prove his class in the Premier League this season, but will need to score 20 plus goals and make about 4 million assists to secure the right back spot in the England team. I have to make space on the bench for Mark Noble, who is getting on for 500 appearances at West Ham now, but still has a big naught next to his name when it comes to England caps, and I can't see that changing anytime soon, or indeed ever, if I'm honest. Alongside him is a man with a much better chance of winning international recognition in the future, and that is Everton's box-to-box youngster, Tom Davies. In the more forward areas, honourable mentions go to the likes of Reece Nelson and Damari Gray, but my two are Mikel Antonio and Ademola Lookman. Antonio has made the England squad, but has never won a full cap, and he brings a great appetite and versatility to our bench, whilst Lookman could be on the verge of a huge season at RB Leipzig that makes Everton fans wonder what could have been, and he can also play on either flank or through the middle. Some players who I haven't even mentioned include the likes of Michael Brighton, Reece James, Shea Adams, Troy Deeney, Jared Bowen, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Bradley Dack, Dwight Gale, Calvin Phillips, and many more. In charge of our side, the likes of Eddie Howe, Chris Wilder, Roy Hodgson, Graham Potter, Sam Allardyce, Dean Smith and Steve Bruce were all never capped by England. Of the aforementioned bunch, most of you will know Eddie Howe is my favourite, so he's our manager. To recap, our current uncapped England 11 reads like this: Angus Gunn, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Jamal Lascelles, Ben Mee, Ryan Sessegnon, Will Hughes, Mason Mount, Jack Grealish, Phil Foden, James Maddison and Glen Murray, with a bench made up of Lee Grant, Conor Coady, Max Aarons, Mark Noble, Tom Davies, Mikel Antonio and Ademola Lookman, and all managed by current Bournemouth boss Eddie Howe. So that's it for today's Not Actually a 7. As always, let us know any new video ideas you'd like to see from us in the comments. Thanks for watching, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications for HITC Sevens for more from us.